I'm Jason, and today we're going to be discussing the source of our identity. Our society seems to be rather divisive right now, and there's a lack of communication, misunderstanding that goes on, where different sides, they may say something and we don't hear it the way that they mean it. Also, when we say something, it may come across differently. People have lost the art of respectfully disagreeing. Now, on one hand, you have people who speak the truth, but they don't do it in love, and it comes across as very rude. On the other hand, you have people who, if you try to say anything that goes against what they believe, they take it personally and aren't able to hear the actual argument and be able to have a conversation about it. There are two main worldviews when it comes to the source of our identity, and both of them are going to be based on our perception of authority. Now, the first one is external. Someone who bases their identity on an external source would be someone who listens to their parents, their teachers, their mentors. They trust what those people say about them, and they take it to heart. One of the advantages of doing it this way, I always use the example of my kids. One of my kids was being rude and said to a younger child, "Nobody likes you." And the younger child very boldly says, "That's not true. Mommy and Daddy like me." They weren't shaken at all. They weren't thrown off because they trusted us. They trusted the parents, the authority over them, to give them confidence in their identity. Now, this is good because if it's someone that we trust, then even as we are changing and we're developing and we have our own insecurities, we can always cross-check it with something outside of us that is more stable than we are. There are some drawbacks though. One would be, what if the person doesn't really know who we are? They might have unrealistic expectations on us, and then we can live our lives trying to live up to an expectation that we just can't meet. With the external authority though, anytime someone makes an argument, it's not against us personally. We compare it against the perception of that authority figure. Let's say you're in the workplace, and your boss tells you you're doing a good job. There may be another employee who's not a fan of you, who tries to undermine you and criticize you. And that can really tear us down a bit. But if we have the boss who believes in us and is encouraging us, we're not going to listen so much to the other employee. It's easier to brush them off. To summarize the external authority for a source of identity, what you're getting is stability, foundation to who you are, but it does come at the cost of certain freedom to define yourself. The other side is the internal authority. It's you. You decide who you are, and you don't let anyone else tell you who you are. And it sounds wonderful, but there's a problem to that one as well. Because, one, we don't know who we are. We're constantly changing. So there's no foundation. There's no consistency one day to the next. And if someone were to criticize anything about us, it's always personal. It's personal because, as the authority of our identity, they're directly attacking us. Unlike if it was an external authority, then they would be attacking someone outside of us. I'm a proud Irishman. I'm proud of my heritage. I love my tartan. I love our family motto. And yet if someone comes along and says, "Oh, you're not truly Irish. I mean, have you ever been to Ireland?" Well, I haven't. That would really cut deep if they start attacking me as not being Irish, because to me, that's part of my identity. And if they start criticizing that, I'm going to spend my effort defending it. Now, there is more freedom that I can choose internally what I want to make part of my identity. Whether I want to be known as a musician or an artist, or if I want to be known as an Irishman, any of those things, that's part of my internal authority, and I have freedom to choose that, but it's also easily under attack. In our society, with all the miscommunication going on, the objective of this video is to help you understand when you're talking to someone else that maybe they're taking something personally that you think is more of just an open argument. It's a discussion. They might be taking it to heart. And that is based on whether it's an identity authority internally or externally. Now, at the same time, if someone's trying to talk to you, realize they may not be rude. It may just be coming across that way. People may be talking about something that to them is external and to you is internal. And it's our tendency to take it to heart. But try to understand, try to perceive if they're doing it to be rude, definitely walk away. But maybe they're just doing it out of a miscommunication and misunderstanding. Maybe they're just trying to have conversation with us. So this is Chapter a Day Bible Commentary channel, so it'd only be fitting that I mention that there is a third option. Not one that is solely on freedom, not one that is solely on foundation, but one that is in between. It's finding an external source, like God, who can give us our identity. But unlike finding an external source in parents, teachers, mentors, who may not know who we are, we have a God who knows who we are and knows who we're supposed to be. He doesn't just call us to be our greater selves and then leave that expectation and put the pressure back on us. That would not be freedom at all. He calls us and empowers us with His grace and His strength to be able to become that better person. So we have the freedom because of His grace, and we have the foundation because of His strength. If your identity is found in others, then it's limited by their perception of you. If your identity is found in yourself, it's limited by your own inabilities. If your identity comes from God, then you can live your life with confidence, knowing who you really are. If you don't know what your identity is, if you haven't made a choice where to find your identity, then I encourage you, put something in the comments, send me a message, join us on Facebook, somehow get in touch, and I will be more than willing to help walk with you on this journey to finding out who you were meant to be. Well, thanks so much for joining me, guys, and I'll see you next time.